Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. In this particular video I'm going to be engraving a pocket knife, and this is a Buck 110, which most of you are probably familiar with. It is a classic American pocket knife. It's made in America. Buck has been around a long time. Is this some sort of fancy knife that costs $1,000 that you'll be afraid to use? No, this is a knife that you can go to pretty much anywhere that sells knives and buy for a great price for what you're getting. It's got nice hardwood scales. In this case, these are Madagascar ebony. These brass bolsters, stainless steel blade, comes very sharp. The blade steel on this is 420 HC and stamped USA. So these are made in the USA, and I've always been a fan of them. It's just one of those things that when you're holding it, you feel like you're actually holding something real. Versus a lot of other knives I think that have made it into stores like Walmart and other places that sell that level of knife. While they do look cool and they function well, in the end, for me, I think they're just copies of designer knives that were designed in the past that have now those designs that trickle down to Walmart. Knives like this have always been for sale in places like Walmart, or the equivalent in the past in Walmart, in your average hardware stores, in Kmart and things like that. So any man could just go in a store and buy one of these. And I'm sure when they first started out, they were super cheap. They're still inexpensive for the knife you're getting. But I really like them. Their overall length when open is, it's a little over 8.5 inches. And then the blade length is 3 3/4 inches. The weight of these is a little over 7 ounces. So it's almost a half a pound knife. So it really is substantial, and I really like that. They come with a sheath. You can either buy these with leather sheaths or a nylon sheath, and the price is probably going to be a little different in that. And but regardless, the knife is a nice knife. So in this video, I just want to focus on engraving it. I have several of these knives, and a couple of them my dad engraved, and I really like the engraved knives. These are perfect knives for engraving. The bolsters are flat, they're brass. It's just a traditional looking knife, so engraving it fits well. A lot of other knives that have this like really modern design, you engrave them and I don't know, sometimes it looks funny. But I think this is a perfect knife to engrave, and it just has that automatic, when you're holding an engraved Buck 110, it just has that kind of thing you pass on to someone look. So I really like that. And I kind of think the direction I want to go, I really have no plan now. The only thing I've kind of thought of before starting the video is to do something kind of patriotic. That's what I think would be kind of neat on this knife since they're made in the United States. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of start designing it. I'll let you sort of see that process. I'll make some comments along the way, and then we'll get started. I think with this video I'm going to try to do kind of a step-by-step. I think a lot of people would like that versus just this brief overview. So we'll start with clamping in the vise. I'm just using a traditional engraving vise here. This is one made by GRS. It's called the Magna Block. And for clamping a knife is an irregular object. It's not just a flat or a block or square piece of something. So for that I need to make some sort of special clamping jaws, and they make fancy things that adjust with set screws, but you can just make your own. And this is just some pine, just cut up on the bandsaw. It's just some 2x4 material, and all I did was traced out the shape of the knife, bandsawed that out, and then shaved a little off the center block to where that drops down in there lower, and now that becomes the jaws that is especially for holding this knife. And the cool thing about that is if you're going to engrave a bunch of knives, you've got your blocks. And what I do is when I want to engrave the other side, you just flip this whole special little blocks over, and I just have some arrows there on that just to keep everything in the same orientation. The next thing you need to do is not stab yourself with the blade, and for that you just wrap blades with tape. However you want to go about it, you just need to cover up that edge, and if you think you can engrave this whole knife and not get cut, you're a fool. You will stick yourself, you will cut yourself, and this knife is especially bad for that. Where this knife gets you is this thing's like a rat trap. You think you're playing with it a whole lot, and this knife can snap shut on you, so it will bite you if you're not careful. Pretty much everyone that I know that's plays around with these Buck 110s has had one snap down on them. I think it was my brother and someone he knows and another person on Christmas morning when they got one of these. They all had that happen to them just playing around with it. But so that's that. Now you're pretty much safe. You can put more tape on there if you want, but that's enough. For getting the design on there, or working on your design, I'm going to use wax. So this is a mixture of beeswax and mineral oil. I just kind of mix it up till I like it. It's just kind of tacky, as you can see. And I'm just going to get that wax on the surface. Then let me find my chalk. Somewhere around here. Got my chalk. It's just some loose chalk. I promise there's some in there. And just a small soft brush. And then that has now hazed up that surface. You can see the difference between the two, the front and the back bolster, and now I'll be able to kind of draw on this with a pencil and my design will show. So my design is going to originate down here at the bottom of the bolster where the wood and the brass meets, and if I mess up while I'm doing this, which I probably will, I can just kind of re-chalk it, start over, or just redo certain parts of the design. So you'll just have to kind of bear with me. This is probably not going to go smooth, but we're just going to see what happens. So I already don't like the way it's going. It's coming out a little abrupt. So I'm actually just going to re-wax it. Chalk it. So it's that quick. There's nothing much to it. It's just a little wax and a little chalk. And I can go at it again.
In this video, I decided not to add music. A lot of people prefer to hear the sounds of the tools being used, so if you like music, you can feel free to play your own.
After some off-camera toying around with the design, I've got it tightened up as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to go ahead and start engraving it. Next I'm going to punch it with this small bead punch. That's just going to add a little dimension to the background.
Not either. There are times sitting up there in that judgment seat I wished I have prayed.
Well, that wraps up engraving this knife. I hope you enjoyed the process of seeing it get done. It was pretty fun to do. Most of the work that I'm doing is for someone else, so it's not really a personal project. This is the first one that I've just kind of done it because I wanted to do it. And what I've decided to do with the knife, of course, I originally was just going to do it and keep it, but I think I'm going to sell this. It'll be a cool way to sort of support the channel. I can sell the one knife, and of course, out of all the people that'll view the video, eventually somebody will want to buy it. And you can click on the first link in the description below. That'll be the link to purchase the knife and photos of it, more details, and if you're curious of how much it's going to be for, you can check that link. The knife will come with a padded case, so that's to store the knife in, the original sheath, and the warranty paper that comes with every buck knife. So the padded case is something extra that I'm just including with the knife to store it in. Also, just kind of is a little more impressive when you open that up and show it to somebody out of a padded case, and of course it just protects it. So I think that's pretty much it. I'll put links to the website. I'll put a link to an engraving playlist I'm going to put together, a link to where you can buy just a plain Buck 110, and some of the engraving stuff that I use. You can get some engraving stuff from grs.com, engraver.com, that's the letter N, then the word graver.com. Google for any other kind of questions you may have. That's the best way to get the answer, or I can try my best to answer questions if I see your comments. And I think that's pretty much it. Do all the YouTube stuff, thumbs ups and all that, subscribe, share the video, and check out other social media stuff. Links in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.